Hi friends, this is Caitlin. I'm so excited to be here with you, back with a new video, and this one is part of an amazing YouTube hop celebrating this new summer release from Sweet November Stamps. So I'm going to be using the Fairwee Happy Birthday stamp set that I'm showing here. These three little sweet Fairwees with their birthday candles. And the fun part about this hop is that the prize is winning the entire collection, which is 11 full stamp sets. So to play along, you just visit each of the YouTube accounts that I have listed down below in the description, subscribe to their channel, and like their YouTube hop video. And you have 4 days to hop along. So this is going to run from Sunday, June 9th through Wednesday, June 12th. And then a randomly selected winner who has done all the steps is going to be announced on the Sweet November Stamps Instagram and Facebook page on Thursday the 13th around 5. All of those rules and all of that information is also going to be down in the description here for you if you missed any of that. But I want to go ahead and dive right on in to this card. This turned out so much better than I thought it was even going to, and I figured it was going to be cute because I love those Fairwees from Sweet November. Amy just draws the cutest little Fairwees. They're my absolute favorite style of illustration that she does. Sorry guys. And I just love them so much. So this is the perfect stamp set too, because I know this is part of their summer release, but honestly, it's a happy birthday stamp set. This is something you can use all year round. I know I'm going to be breaking these out literally all year, and I can't wait to use them for a Halloween birthday card. I don't know about you, but I have friends with birthdays in October, and I know that they would love a little Halloween themed birthday. So at least one of these Fairwees is getting decorated and colored for the Halloween season for sure. So for this first little Fairwee, I decided to go with a more fair skin tone and give her some kind of dirty blonde hair. So I went with kind of my standard fair skin color combo. And then for her hair, I'm going in with my E40s. I'm using that E44 marker to go through and kind of emphasize the artist's drawn lines and break up some of those hair strands even more. And then going in with the 43 to start thickening and blending that color out a little bit. And then my highlight shade for this is going to be that E42. It's still going to give that kind of soft blonde, but it's not super bright or yellow, which I love. And then I decided I wanted to kind of have a rainbow color scheme without actually doing a full rainbow or worrying about exact rainbow order. So I knew that this Fairwee was going to be in the middle because she's the one facing straight forward. And so I started with my kind of orange and pink color combination for her. And then I'll have one Fairwee that's yellow and green and the other that's blue and purple. But they're not going to go in rainbow order on my card. And I really love playing with that color combination or color scheme without being super literal. So I just thought this was so cute. So she got a cute little RV pink dress, and then every other stripe on the candle is a matching RV stripe. And then I went in on the in-between stripes with this YR09, YR68, and YR04 little combo. And then I'm going to use those same colors to shade in her wings and her little shoes. And this is kind of what we're going to do for all three, where their dress is one, their wings and shoes are another, and then their candle is a combination. And I just think this is so cute. I just love them so much. They turned out so bright and fun. And all of the candle flames are going to be the same. So I'm kind of going in with that YR04, a little bit of Y15, and then YR31 really lightly. For my second Fairwee, I decided to give her a little bit of more of a tan skin tone. So we're starting with some E25, and I'm going to just stick with some of my more tan colors. I just love adding a little bit of diversity into my coloring whenever I can, and I think that it helps me as a colorist kind of just learn and play with my markers. So we did E25, E13, and then E11 is my highlight shade. And then her hair is going to be a deeper brunette. So we're going to go with my E50s for her hair and her cute little braid that kind of runs along her back between her and her wings. And again, just there's not a ton of room here, which is something that I also love about the Fairwees in general, is that you can really decide how much detail or not you want to color. They're drawn in a way that lets you, in my opinion, color them pretty simply and quickly if you need to. So if you're kind of working in a time crunch, or maybe you only have, a set amount of time that you can craft or color today, I just love that these are such a great option, but they still look so good on your card that they hold up on their own. So this is the little Fairwee that's going to be yellow and green. So I'm coloring in her little shoes and her dress yellow, going in with some really pale Y markers. And then I realized there wasn't really any contrast. So I went back in with my Y19 at the end just to kind of add a little extra depth here and there. And for this one, because it was a solid candle, but I wanted two colors, we're going to make our own ombre. So I'm adding my deeper yellows at the top and then going in with that Y11 that's this really nice pale soft yellow. Then I can take my YG greens and again start at the bottom and kind of blend my way up into the top with that YG21, kind of marries up with that YG11 really nicely. They both have that 1 at the end, and they're only like one color family away, right? 11 and 21. So they're going to work really well together. She got kind of little Tinkerbell wings with the green on her wings. And then this last fairy, I'm going to give her a darker skin tone. So going back to my E20s, but this time starting with that E29, which is a super rich dark brown. And this fairy is going to be our blue and purple. So I went with that 29 and then jumped to 18. My E15 is on its absolute last leg. So we're going with 17 first, and then I'm going to pull in some 15, but it was almost disastrous because I don't even know if this marker is going to be worth refilling to try to save. I might just have to start over at this point. So that's the only reason I brought in some 13 was to soften up where that 15 ink had been. So normally I don't do that many colors at once on a skin tone. For her hair, I wanted her to have basically black hair, but I didn't want it to look flat. So I went in with a little bit of VO9 just to add in some of that purple, cool toned undertone for when we start doing her blue and purple outfit. I just thought it would be kind of fun to sneak a little purple base in there. And then I went in with my C9 and then C7 to kind of start blending out those curls, leaving just a little sliver of highlight here and there. And that larger space behind her wing, I'm going to use the same markers but leaving out my darkest shade. So that way it looks like the translucent wing is kind of creating that film so that it looks just a little bit lighter than everything else. Once I had done all of this, I liked how it looked, but it just was reading gray versus black. So I did pull in just the tiniest bit of my 100 marker, that true dark black marker. And I loved the extra depth that gave. So I'm using some V markers for her little wing and her shoes and the belt on her dress. And then her dress itself is going to be blue. And I went with some blues that I don't use a lot. I don't use most of my blues, though, to be fair. So I went with BO6 to kind of start out and then blended that with a little bit of BO4. Just kind of thickening and widening all of those bands where there would be shadow in between her ruffles. Then BO2 was my lightest shade. And then I'm going to use those same colors on the candle. And for this, I decided to have a blue candle with purple stripes because there's those little textured stripes and divots on this candle to begin with. So just kind of taking my time, making sure I'm using the actual little tip of the pen or the marker so I'm not getting kind of bleeding in between my lines. and then going in with that purple just to finish the stripes. So there they are, so cute. And then I was trying to figure out how I was going to set up my card. So I decided on a shaker card, and I trimmed down this paper. I will tell you now that this paper is from My Favorite Things, and I'm pretty sure it's retired. But it was just too perfect, and I have all of this paper that I just need to either use up or give away or throw out. And so I don't love sharing stuff with you guys that you can't get now if you wanted to purchase. But I hope you'll understand, especially for something like this where the stamps really are meant to be the focus, that I just have to try to use some of this stuff up. So I am placing this inside of a Pink and Main A2 sized shaker envelope. And you guys know I love using my leftover packaging, but I have been pushing myself to try to use these envelopes more, and they are so cute. And for this style that we're going to be using, where we're adding cardstock to the front in multiple places, so it's more of like a peekaboo shaker, I do think that the extra strength that the envelope gives versus just using packaging is really nice. It makes it much sturdier and much easier to add all of your other elements on top. So I went in with Gardenia confetti sequins, also from Pink and Main, and then sealed up my little shaker. And then it was time to try to figure out this top and bottom. So I kind of had an idea that I wanted to look like a cake, like a beautifully frosted cake. So I have these little edge scallops, also from Pink and Main. And so I'm going to cut a panel across to go at the top and the bottom. And the only thing I will say is I wish that I had trimmed my paper a little differently when I cut that rainbow stripe, because you can't see any yellow in my rainbow. And I missed out on like some of the pink and purple or something. And I wish that it showed the yellow, because I think it would still read as more of like a rainbow background. I don't dislike how it looks now, the way it is, but if I could change one thing, that's what I would change. So I used some tape runner to add this little scallop border to the top, and then I'm going to repeat that process with the bottom, but I needed to hold up my little Fairwees to see how much space I needed, like how wide that bottom strip should be. So I went ahead and fussy cut all of these out. If you've been here before, you know this is my least favorite part of the process every single time. But these are drawn in a way that it's pretty easy to fussy cut them. So I'm just taking my time, trying to move my paper more than my hand, and just work my way around nice and easy. Usually when I'm making cards, I'm also like listening to a podcast, or I'm watching like other card makers on YouTube. So I kind of just zone out, and it's fine. What I did realize is I didn't love that one of the fairies was going to be like floating in midair, even though she's a fairy, and that's very possible. She had the look like she was standing. So I stamped out this little fairy table that's in that same stamp set and super quickly colored it up. And that's going to let me have this really cute little table stand, so it looks like she's standing up on the table. Probably not safe, but very, very cute. I use the same YG markers from our little other fairy, and just went in really lightly with some grays on the tablecloth, and then pulled out my E49 and I believe 47 to shade in the legs of the table. Super simple. Also went ahead and fussy cut out that table. And then we are going to assemble all of this flat onto the card. So again, going in with my tape runner. Once I had my Fairwees cut out, it was really easy to see how high I wanted this to be. And this is the part where I'm saying, like, once I added this bottom panel, you lose the yellow, and it's like one stripe away. It just drives me crazy. It shouldn't. I know it should matter, but it does. So I stamped my happy birthday in black ink across the top banner of my card. And the ink I use for that is the same as what I use for all of my stamped images. It is the Honeybee Stamps Intense Black ink. That is my all-time favorite Copic coloring ink. And my Fairwees are stamped onto Copic Express It paper. Because I was giving you all of the hop details before, I definitely skipped out on explaining that part. And then with all of these shaker bits inside, I think it's so cute, but because so much is covered up, I wanted there to be sequins kind of scattered around just to keep this kind of like really fun and sparkly look. So I added little dots of liquid glue across the top part of the banner, kind of creating a triangle on either side of my sentiment. And then just kind of 3 scattered on the actual plastic shaker envelope and a couple scattered down at the bottom around my Fairwees. So I'm going to actually put this on an A2 size side folding card base so that you can see how it looks with the shaker pouch actually added onto the card. I don't usually put my card fronts onto card bases until I'm ready to like send out my card, which is probably not a good trait for me to have, but you know, here we are. And for this one, it was so important that it line up that I did it inside my Misty stamping platform. So I tucked them all into the corner and it lined it up really nicely. And that is my whole card complete. So thank you so much for coming to hang out. I hope that you have fun hopping along. I will see you guys so soon. And until next time, happy crafting.